Howdy, Divataunia. I don't know if I'm saying that right, so I do apologize. But I just watched your video on why is God in my food addiction, and I wanted to comment on this so other people could watch as well, because I am a substance abuse counselor, so I have quite a bit of experience with 12-step meetings, and I also have been focusing on my own food addiction for probably 3.5 years now. First off, I'm not religious by any shape of the imagination. I am spiritual. I do believe in God. The way I use God as a label because it's convenient. I don't know that I necessarily believe in God how other people believe in God. What 12-step meetings like OA and AA are trying to get at is realizing that it's hard to do things on our own, so we're reaching for a power greater than ourselves. The power greater than ourselves could be the group itself that you're going to. It could be your mother, it could be the universe, it could be whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be God. And I do understand the pressure within 12-step meetings to have the God that everybody else is referring to, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that aspect probably chases a lot of people out of support groups, even though it shouldn't. A power greater than yourself is exactly how you define it. Like I said, I know some people define God in AA meetings as GOD, group of drunks. They're just referring that the group of drunks that they're hanging out with at the AA meeting is something outside of themselves. What else? Another thing is, as far as praying, I'm a therapist, and sometimes I pray. I also use positive self-talk, which is just kind of like making positive affirmations to myself, telling myself I can do it, telling myself I look good, whatever it is. And in a way, I kind of see a connection between praying and positive self-talk. What it is we're just kind of putting something positive out there, either to ourselves, to God, to the universe, whatever it is. The reason I keep referring to the universe is there's actually a good movie out there called The Secret. And it talks about how the things that we think about, we bring about. I look at that as the same thing with religion. If we're praying about something positive, hopefully something positive comes. If I'm talking to myself positively, if I'm thinking positively, positive things are going to happen. If I think negatively, negative things will probably happen. And the thing is I don't know what the answer is. Is it me? Is it God? Is it the universe? I don't know. All I know is that it works. Thinking positive works, and thinking negative, I see it in people's lives when I deal with them. The positive ones, positive things end up happening. The negative ones, it's like something's always spiraling. There's always some drama. Anywho, with that said, and I'm reading some of the message that I actually emailed to you, but like I said, I wanted other people to see it. I think that, if religion isn't your thing and the power greater than yourself is going to bother you at the meetings, then definitely go see a therapist. I don't know if you have insurance. I actually self-pay to go to therapy, and I pay $50 a week. You could probably get a self-pay right around there. You can probably also self-pay for group, which is normally a little bit less, but just find like a therapist office or an adult mental health place, and I'm sure there's someone that specializes in addiction. In all reality, for those people that don't understand what addiction is a way for us to avoid our feelings. Another word for addiction is a bad coping skill. So when we say food addiction, what we're really doing is we are avoiding our feelings by eating over it. And what happens is that we do this for so long that eventually when we get an urge to eat, we have no idea what feeling we're even covering up. I've been through this myself. I've seen people go through it with drugs and alcohol. I've seen people go through it with work addictions, shopping addictions, gambling addictions. It's all the same idea. We're trying to run from our feelings. So one good thing to do is if you get an urge to eat and you're not physically hungry, you can halt. H-A-L-T. You ask, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Try to really figure out what's going on with you. It doesn't mean it's going to stop you from eating, but over doing this over like a 3.5-4 year period, I'm getting a lot better with my food addiction. A thing that makes food addiction harder than drug and alcohol addiction is that drug and alcohol addicts, for the most part, when they maintain long-term sobriety, they've left the drug and alcohol alone completely. They've learned that they can't use it in moderation. But the thing is you can't do that with food. We can't leave it alone completely. We do have to learn to use it in moderation. So one thing that helps for me is determining, what am I feeling? Am I anxious? Am I stressed? Am I angry? Why do I want to eat right now when I'm not hungry? And like I said, sometimes I will eat anyways, and sometimes I won't eat because I'll deal with whatever was bothering me. It's a very long process. It's hard. It's time consuming. It's emotional. It's frustrating. It's, you know, a little bit of everything. It's not an easy task, but I just feel like in the long run, it's going to pay off. And it actually really bothers me that surgeons and doctors even allow people to get weight loss surgery without them knowing, you know, why did I get to 200, 300, 400, 500 pounds? You know, they want to blame it on McDonald's. They want to blame it on carbohydrates. They want to blame it on lack of exercise. But nobody wants to look at the fact that we're eating our emotions. In all reality, I would say, you know, some people do have issues that lead to being overweight. But for the most part, if someone's overeating and binging to the point where you need, you know, weight loss surgery, it's probably an emotional thing. We're eating our emotions away. Another important word in addiction is trigger. We have to find out what triggers us. A trigger can be a situation, a place, a person, a feeling. What triggers me to want to drink, to eat, to do drugs, whatever it is. So I realize for me, anxiety is the biggest trigger. Most other emotions I can deal with without eating, but anxiety is one that gets me almost every time. So what I have to do is learn to focus on my anxiety. Okay, for somebody who, when they get angry, they eat, they need to look at their anger. So like I said, it bothers me that people are allowed to get weight loss surgery without even knowing, you know, why are they overeating in the first place? Because the problem isn't the food. The problem is, like I said, I need to deal with my anxiety. Some people need to deal with their anger. Some people need to deal with their sadness. Whatever it is, that is the issue. That is what we need to focus on. This is also the reason that a lot of people become alcoholics after they lose weight, is because they can no longer, after weight loss surgery, they can no longer overeat. They find a new way to cover up their emotions. It's very common. I see the same thing, my drug addicts at work, they start gaining significant amount of weight when they quit using drugs, because until they take care of the real problem, which is dealing with their emotions, it comes out in another way. So they start eating. I had a friend who stopped drinking for 9 months. In the meantime, he started working 3 jobs. He became a workaholic. He worked one job from like 7 to 3. The other one I think was 4 to 11 or something, and then he would like do bartending until 2, which a great idea for an alcoholic to be a bartender. But regardless, he just kept himself busy, and I tried to tell him, you know, when this job ends, you're going to start drinking again. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So until we really deal with the problem, it's going to come back. The other part of the trigger is, I've realized, and OA taught me this, is that some people have trigger foods. For me, my trigger foods are Reese's peanut butter cups, and it's actually been over 9 months since I had one. For me, for some reason, when I eat one, I'm going to eat the whole bag. If I don't eat the whole bag, I'm going to keep thinking about it until eventually I break down and I go buy a bunch of them. But I've went on, you know, Reese's binges in the past. Actually, I did have my first miniature Reese's cup. I don't count it because it wasn't like, it didn't taste the same as a Reese's peanut butter cup. But from those, I've been abstinent for like, you know, 9 months now, I think, something like that. Another trigger food for me is cookie dough. I've put down on some cookie dough. It helped me gain 80 pounds when I lived in New York, dealing with anxiety, dealing with frustration, dealing with being cheated on. Reese's peanut butter cups, cookie dough, and then one that I have to be really careful with, which I wouldn't necessarily call it a trigger food because I can say no, but would be mashed potatoes. I have them, and it's like it sets off something in my brain, and I just have to keep eating more. So learning your trigger foods, learning your triggers, dealing with your emotions. If you can't afford therapy, start writing, start journaling, do art, do something to get the feeling outside and stop eating over it, stop drinking over it, stop snorting lines over it. Like I said, it is a hard thing. It's a lot of work, and I can only hope it pays off in the long run. I get very frustrated at times that this is the cross I have to bear. You know, it's the same thing as my drug addicts at work. You know, they're very frustrated. They don't understand, why can't I just quit? I just want to quit. I don't even want to use anymore. You know, and it's very hard, and it's very, you know, it feels defeating. But at least we have this tool to help us, you know, work towards our goal. You know, get off the majority of the weight, and then, you know, focus on the emotional part. But anyways, I thank you all for watching, and I wish everyone luck. I know it's so horrible, and nobody understands it except for those who are going through it. But, you know, obviously it affects a huge percentage of our society, and I just hope that people will start looking at this aspect of obesity. So thanks all. Bye-bye.